Hi, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make the feathered fall shawl. This is one of my older designs that did not include a video, and the yarn has now been discontinued, so I wanted to remake it in this beautiful yarn from Mary Maxim. There are so many fun colors to choose from. It is Prism, and it is a weight number 3. So a light DK number 3 weight yarn. So I've had a hard time picking what color, but I think I'm going to go with this one, which is Surfside. And you will need 2 balls to make this shawl. So let's get started. So I'll be working with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook for this tutorial, and I am using a Capricorn streamline hook from Furls, and I'll have a link in the description box for the yarn as well as the hook. So we're going to begin with a magic circle or a magic ring. Wrap that yarn around your index finger 3 times. Take your hook, sliding it through all 3 loops. Grab your first loop, pull it through, and we'll chain 3. The chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet here and throughout the pattern. Now we'll work 2 double crochet, a chain 2, and 3 double crochet. Now to pull your ring, you're going to start pulling this, and only one strand here is pulling in one of the loops. So take it, we're going to pull, we just want to loosely pull that in. We don't want to tug it too tight. Okay, and then this is the start of our triangle. I'm going to grab a yarn bowl to stick this in. So for row 2, we'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll work 2 double crochet, in the first stitch, we'll chain 2. We'll skip the next 2 stitches, and in our chain space, we'll work a double crochet, chain 2, a double crochet. Now we'll skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and 3 double crochet in the turning chain. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have 8 stitches now, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll turn and chain 3. Work 2 double crochet in that first stitch. We'll chain 2. In our chain 2 space, we'll work 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. We'll chain 2. We're going to skip this stitch, and in our chain 2, we're going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. We'll chain 2. We're going to skip this stitch. In our chain 2 space, we'll work 3 double crochet, chain 2, and in our turning chain, we're going to work 3 double crochet. Okay, so we now have 14 stitches. For row 4, we'll chain 3. We'll work 2 double crochet in that first stitch. We'll chain 2. In the next chain 2 space, we'll work 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and in the next chain 2 space, chain 2, and in our corner chain 2 space, so we're just skipping the 1, we'll work a double, chain 2, and a double, we'll chain 2, and in the next chain 2 space, we'll work 3, 1, 2, 3. So at this point, you should be starting to see the pattern. We're doing those clusters of 3 double crochets in the spaces. So we're chaining 2. In our next chain 2 space, we're going to work those 3 doubles. Chain 2, and in the turning chain, 1, 2, 3. So we now have 20 stitches. We're increasing each row by a total of 6 stitches. So we're going to have one more cluster each row before our corner. So now we're just going to keep repeating row 4 really as large as you want to make your shawl. So it's a really easy repeat. The pattern at the very end will be, our final row will be different, but I will make my shawl as long as I want, and then I will meet you up to show you that. Let me just do one more row with you just so that you're on track. So our chain 3, again, it does not count, it counts as a double crochet. So we're adding 2 in the first stitch. So that's our first cluster. We're chaining 2 always between the clusters. So in the chain 2 space, we'll work 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, in our next chain 2 space, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and we're reaching our point, our corner of our triangular shape. We'll do a double, 1 double, chain 2, and 1 double. So always in the center. That is how it's worked. And then up our sides, chain 2 and 3 doubles. You can already see the color starting to change. It's going to be so pretty. All the color work does its changing for us. And if you wanted to make the shawl smaller, you could just use 1 ball. I want to make sure I add some nice fringe to mine, so I'm definitely probably going to want to use the 2 balls for this. But again, this is just a repeat pattern, so if you wanted to go a bit smaller, then that's okay. So we have a total on one of these balls So you have an idea is 290 yards, and that's on a 100 gram size ball. So if you're making any swaps, the original pattern, I only used one hank, but it had more yardage. So it had a total of 328 yards. So there's a bit fewer yards on this one, so I don't want to be short. And then always ending in that turning chain with 3 doubles. This is just a simple granny style shawl, and it's going to work up so quick and look so beautiful in this yarn. So I'm going to continue working mine off camera. I'm going to meet you back up and show you how many rows and total stitches that I've done, and then I'll show you how to finish it off. Okay, so I have worked a total of 31 rows, and now I'm going to begin the final row with my long double crochet stitches. Now when I changed my ball over, what I did is I just pulled so that I could have a similar consistent pattern. So I did have to roll off some of my ball just to make sure that I joined into blue, because I wanted it to flow nicely with the pattern and not all of a sudden have an abrupt color change. So I just rolled that off, and I can use that for the fringe at the end. So what you'll do now is turn and chain 6, and then to work a long double crochet, we'll yarn over, go through the stitch, you're going to pull up a loop, and you're going to pull them all the way up to the height of the chain 6. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So it makes this really long, elongated double crochet. So yarn over, go through the stitch, pulling up that loop, pulling it right up to the height, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we're going through each stitch. Whoops. And then in our chain 2 space, we're going to work 2. Okay, and we're going to continue working in every stitch, and 2 into every chain 2 space. Okay, so continue working that, and I'll meet you down at the corner. Okay, so once you get to your corner, I've already worked into this double crochet. Now we'll work a long double crochet, chain 2, and a long double crochet, all in the chain 2 space. Now I'm going to use up most of my yarn, so I'm not going to have a lot for fringe, but you can easily make it not quite as big as the shawl so that you have more yarn left over. It's really up to you. I wanted a sizable shawl, like I wanted a fair size, so I just kept going with as much as I could from the 2 balls of yarn that I had. I just love this look. So I'm going to continue working all the way up to the end, and I'll meet you up at the end. Okay, so I'm coming up to the turning chain, and I'm just going to add 2 into that turning chain. Now we can fasten off. So next what we'll want to do is block the shawl. It's going to stretch it all out and give it a beautiful drape. So what you'll do is place the shawl in some lukewarm water. I like to add some wool wash or a tiny bit of dish soap. Let the shawl set for about 25 minutes. Then you're going to squeeze out as much water as possible. We're going to lay it out on our large blocking mats, and you're going to pin it out to measurements. Allow the shawl to fully dry. See, so it's going to stretch it out and really help us see our stitch pattern. And once it's fully dry, you can remove the pins, and then we'll attach the fringe. So I'm going to cut strands of yarn 12 inches. And I'm basically going to do as many here as I can with my leftover yarn. You can just take your yarn and go back and forth just as close as possible to matching the lengths. And then we will trim the fringe at the end to even it all off anyways. So just do the best you can. Okay, so I cut out the fringe, and as you can see, it has its nice transition of color. So what I'm going to do is I will start with the blue down at the corner, and then I'll work taking some and go up each side just so it has a gradual change of color going upwards. So that's how I'm going to attach my fringe, and I'm going to attach 2 pieces in every 3rd stitch. So if we take a look at our shawl, we're going to come down to that chain 2. We'll take 2 pieces, folding the fringe in half. And then you'll put the hook through. Okay, sometimes it's good to use the hook, just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so we'll attach the fringe like that. So then you'll count up, and every 3rd stitch you can add 2 pieces. So now I'm gonna block my shawl before I add all the fringe. And then what I like to do, because the fringe, so you get to the center of the ball, it's kind of wavy. So you can steam the fringe, and then we can also trim it just to get all the wrinkles out. But I'm just gonna remove this, and I'm gonna go block my shawl. And then I will add the fringe up the sides. Now you can also, if you want to do every other stitch, only put the fringe up maybe part way. Just put as much until you run out. What I would maybe suggest is doing 1 less row than what I did, and it would give you a little bit more fringe, but I'll make sure to pop that in the notes. Okay, so I finished blocking my shawl. I added all of my fringe. So if you see how the color transitions up the side, I've been able to add enough fringe to get all the way up to the corner. Okay, and that was with doing 31 rows and then adding this, but I did suggest in the pattern only doing to 30 just to make sure you have a little bit extra just in case your gauge is off. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Make sure to check the description box down below, and you'll find all the links that you need for the pattern. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.